how to break a spell, like a magic spell or a curse. Interesting, a lot of people don't realize how much they're cursing others. Oh, to hell with you. Or, I hope that happens to you. Or these statements that we throw out there. Forgetting that if we're cursing others, we're cursing ourselves. If we're casting a spell on someone, we're also casting it on ourselves. And how do you break a spell or like a hypnotic trance? I have to, first of all, when you understand how the trance operates or how the spell operates or how that curse operates in that sense, then once you know what it is and how it operates, it no longer has any power over you, because the power over you has to come from you being unconscious of the spell, or unconscious of the magic spell, or unconscious of the curse. And it has to be always by agreement. Because it's like even someone who, does some theatrical performance with a hypnotist to come out of the audience, they have to agree that they're going to be hypnotized. They're going to have to agree to give their will over to someone else to direct them, and they've agreed, and so it blocks out everything else other than the command. There are those who are not hypnotized because they refuse to do that. And yet, if we look at how the hypnotic trance operates, remember how it always used to be, you'd see the watch of the hypnotist say, watch the watch. That's why it's called a watch, because it's called tick-tock, tick-tock, plus, minus, positive, negative, light, dark, show. And when we get fixated on the outer and what's going on, we tend to lose consciousness and are simply operating in an unconscious state of mechanical repetition, habits, like saying, I wash my mouth and I can't do a thing with it. Well, I can't help myself. This is who I am. It isn't who you are. Who you are is beyond all of that. That's fabrication, what you've learned, what you've been taught, what's been indoctrinated, simulated, your eternal existence. And then there's been this temporary existence, and you might call an overlay, a simulation of the true divine spiritual state of being in consciousness and reality. So we want to get back to source, back to home. We want to take back our powers that we've been giving to the tick-tock, 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 plus, minus, positive, negative, like, dislike, lament, hanker. Constantly in this two-sided black and white, black square, white square reality box. So how do we break a spell? How do we break a curse? How do we break a magic spell or an illusion? Or be caught up in that? You have to, first of all, notice that you've been hypnotized. And what do they call the door that goes into a building or any kind of a place? An entrance. You're entering a trance state. And that's when we have a preconceived notion, idea, belief system, construct that we overlay on our experience and our being, even in nature, Well, what kind of a tree is that? Oh, well, it's a this and a that, and it has this. No, these are just labels and words. That has nothing to do with the tree. Nothing at all. Well, I have to know what it is, or I can't experience it because, and it's categorized, and the official Latin name is, and it's, I know all these things. Well, that maybe you don't even know the tree. And that word tree is a label on this form expressing life, you see. So you break the spell, the hypnotic trance, or the curse, and you have to look at where have you been cursing yourself, which is shooting yourself in the foot, sabotaging yourself. And this hypnotic trance, to believe that you're not good enough, and these hypnotic suggestions that are commands that have been given. You can't do anything right. You're stupid. Men are better than women. Women are better than men. We gotta fight for what we want and who we are. Who are you fighting? Where do they come from? Who's made up the enemy? It's all in the mind. So when you recognize and realize, oh, I'm not the hypnotic trance. I'm not the commands and statements. People say, I don't feel worthy. And everybody says, well, affirm, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy. But worthy, and the mind still says, no, you're not, loser. I know what you've done. Or I'm worthy, look how great I am. I got the award. Look what people do for a pat on the back. A pat your back. That's enough? All outer directed is the hypnotic trance. The distraction. Keeping ourselves focused on the outer, neglecting the inner. So the inner is drug around, screaming and hollering in a sense, all everywhere, out of control, being controlled by hypnotic suggestions, programming, simulations, subliminals. If you don't know how the mind operates, it's going to drag you around, and you better find out now and get the distinction between you and this fear-based, programmed mind. And when you know who you are in the now, there are no programs running. You have no objections to who you are and what you want to do. Yes. All things are possible to you. And if not, those objections are implants. But you've agreed, because it can't happen without agreement. And every time we give our power to someone, oh, they're going to take care of me. They're going to do it for me. They'll make my decisions. They'll protect me. They'll take care of, they'll do all the... You lose, Chi-Chi, as Dave says. Because you become the loser, because the hypnotic trance only favors the hypnotist, ultimately. And you don't need to live and exist in hypnotic trance. You want to be trance-free. It's called the transcendence. Transcendence. To be transcendental, that means the position of strength and being the observer and not allowing the hypnotic trance state to control you. Because when you see how the magic trick is done, you see it all the time. Have you ever seen those pictures where you look at it and there's black and white figures, but you can only see what the white is, the old lady or the young girl? But when you know what it is and get it, you always see both. And what tends to happen is just like take a beautiful of this apparent mountain behind. Maybe that is more than a mountain. You see? Maybe it's more. But the overlay of the hypnotic trance is implanted and then promoted through repetition, so that even after a while, with the continual, repetitive statement, program, no matter what, the lie will then be known as the truth. And if you disagree with the truth, you're a heretic. You're a troublemaker. Because everybody knows. It's in the books. It's been decided. We've made these rules on paper and signed them by us. You must do this. Really? Once you stop cursing others and stop cursing yourself, there is no scarcity. You are prosperity. Breathe. Notice where you are. Spot some things around you. This is where you are. And you're always right here, right now. Yeah. Free yourself from the trance, from the suggestions, when you realize that's all they are. And you no longer allow the outer to control the inner. And yet from the inner, you direct and express through the outer.